One in five suffer.
Erase the stigma.
Brain difference is not a crime.
Mental health isn't just your problem.
It's our problem.
And now, Mental Health Monday with Marla and Dave.
Welcome to Mental Health Mondays. As usual, every Monday that I come
you
here.
know it's more than one Monday, right? We do it every Monday.
It doesn't matter. I'm
Mondays.
Marla. I'm Marla on all Mondays.
And I'm Dave. Welcome to the show. We had a great conversation with Kail Lowry, our guest, I think week before last, and we were blessed to have her as on our show.
Well, she has a lot to deliver, and we all need to hear it. So I'm so here for it. It's scary.
A mother of four, New York Times best-selling author, television personality, parenting blogger, social media influencer. Over 8 million combined followers on her social media. She runs a website under her own name. She focuses on DIY, do-it-yourself, cooking, gifting, kids, and more relevant topics. Today, we're going to dig into the professional side of Kail Lowry, our guest. You might know her from Teen Mom 2.
And I'm projecting her new show, Kail's House.
Exactly.
I'm here
she
to promote
is a
that.
mogul in the making. Kail, welcome back to the show.
Thank you.
Well, we're going to dig into your professional life today, and
Her
we're going to
endeavors.
have a great conversation, and we're going to be right back.
Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
Hey guys, listen up. Learn something.
Okay, welcome back. So when we left off last, we were just getting into Kail's life as far as we talked about her being an author. We ended up with talking about one of her books that it's an adult coloring. Is that correct?
Adult coloring book?
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, because I have so many of my own personal questions that, I've assigned her a new show. I'm doing big things here. I promise.
So, Kail, you were telling us that you wrote the book Hustle and Heart, and you also at the same time released a Hustle and Heart coloring book as well.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about, Marla.
Yes.
And I think I was also brought up one of your podcast, Coffee Convos, and I think I might have said, did I say Chrissy Lindsay did I say Lindsay Chrisley?
Chrisley.
It's Lindsay Chrisley.
It's Lindsay Chrisley.
Yeah, it's for sure Lindsay Christie.
If Lindsay hears this, just tell her that
Yes.
we're old.
Just chalk it up to my thick tongue.
And his tooth that goes in right here. And sits on
Hey, careful. All right, so now, Kail, you are professionally, when we just listened to everything as we talked about in the intro, you seem to be doing the most. At the same time, you are a single mom raising 4 sons. That is, that alone is the definition of the most for those of us who are parents. But to still be able to hold down the business side of your life. Explain how you balance it all.
I was going to say, what's the most challenging part of mothering 4 and being an entrepreneur and mogul?
You know what? It really takes a village, and I finally found like my core people that really help me and make it possible for me to do all these things. And so I think the hardest balance is really everything that I do. It's my business is my home, and my home is my business. And so it's one of those things where it's like my kids don't understand that I work from home. And so that's the hardest balance right now, right? Like I'm pretty sure in this interview, my 3-year-old was screaming in the other room. So,
and I'm pretty sure that they probably feel if we interviewed her sons, I bet you Isaac would say the same thing. I'm pretty sure my mom doesn't understand. I do school from this house. This house is my classroom, and this classroom is my house.
Speaking of, a lot of parents who have had their and kids alike have had their worlds turned upside down with this pandemic. We all have. Tell us about parenting and doing and becoming the teacher as well. How are you dealing with that? How are your kids dealing with that?
You know, if you would have asked me this last year, it would have been fine because I wouldn't have had a newborn.
Yeah.
And, you know, it would have been a completely different dynamic. But now that I have a newborn who just needs my attention 24 hours a day.
Absolutely.
It's been a little rough for me, if I'm being honest. I think, you know, when you have another baby, you forget how hard the newborn phase is. And so that's been really difficult. But you become the chef, the teacher, the gym teacher, the mom,
The referee.
Overnight.
Don't forget chauffeur.
Yeah, chauffeur too. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't, jack of all trades, like never felt so real, you know, like, so it's been a little bit of a learning curve, but I think we finally figured it out for us.
I have a question. Did you upgrade your vehicle status to a semi truck? I just thought about it, and I was like,
a Sprinter.
She has 4 boys, and I know that us having 3, each one always had a friend. That was 6 kids, in their primary years for real. And I'm like, 4, that's 8. When they start.
I definitely always have other people's kids, but that's okay. It's fine. It's like once you have 3, then what's one more? You know what I mean? So
right, Cam's on his way.
I'm gonna get a Sprinter bus, maybe.
Exactly. Well, I've heard that a lot of parents are now doing this thing where they kind of, instead of being able to, I know some places are going to school sometimes half-time, other homeschooling at other times. Some parents are also saying that for this day, all the kids that, you know, in our little friend group are going to go to
they're called
one
pods.
person's house for a pod, and they do their work over there. The next day, sometimes that's just some of the things that people are doing to cope. But you seem to be holding it down well. So talk to us about the process that you go through when it comes time to, say, write a book.
So this is always like a hard question for me to answer because I definitely go through phases when I write. It's usually when I'm going through a whole lot, and I do find that people resonate with my pain more than the happy stuff that I write, which was very interesting for me to find out. And I write a lot when I'm in pain, and sometimes I don't even know what I'm going to do with it, but I save the writing. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, if I feel like I've been in a really good place for, you know, X amount of time, I will, you know, go to my publisher and be like, hey, I wrote this. Can you help me like publish it? And, you know, Pride Over Pity was my first book. Like I said earlier, I wrote it in I published it in 2014. I mean, I wrote that over the course of years. Like I would stop and start. And, you know, I didn't even know if it would ever get published. So there was a little bit of a mental block there where I needed to, you know, put my mind over, it was mind over matter. And really it was like, I'm going to publish this book, not is it going to get published?
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So
not will I, but I am.
Yeah. So it depends what phase of life I'm in. I feel like for my writing, I've been writing a lot lately because last year, prior to COVID and coronavirus and all of that, I went through a really, really, really rough time. And so I'm kind of just now writing everything and kind of getting ready to close, you know, that
chapter of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when do you feel that whole catharsis setting in, or that suddenly you start to feel like maybe some of your anxiety is being relieved just from the process of writing? Is it near the beginning, or as you kind of write through and sort of
or after
reframe some of the things that have been painful that you've been dealing with? When do you feel that sort of relief?
I think like as soon as I start really getting overwhelmed and nothing I'm doing is working, I'm like, okay, I need to write. And then when I start writing, it's almost instant. Like I could write a sentence and it's instant relief for me. And I never read it again.
Wow.
Wow.
No, I don't read it again until I'm literally about to publish it. And if I don't publish it, like if it's not getting published, if it's in a separate pile, I don't ever read it again.
You'll never touch that again. It's served its purpose already, and just letting it out. Wow, that's awesome.
That is. And so we're gonna flip after this next break, and I want to talk to you about your webcast, Coffee and Conversations, Conversations and Coffee.
Coffee Convos.
We'll be back.
We'll be right back.
When Dave and Marla get together, it's hot. You may not realize it, but these words, often used to describe someone with a mental health condition, can be very harmful. In a country where 1 in 5 people are affected by a mental health condition, it's time for all of us to step up and change the conversation. Just because someone's struggle isn't obvious on the outside doesn't mean they aren't hurting on the inside. We need to see the person, not the condition. Join with me, pledge to be stigma-free.
It's time for the Mental Health Minute with Marla and Dave.
All right, for the last 2 weeks, we've been sharing tips to boost your mental health. So far, we've shared 20 mental health boosting tips. This is the last week of our mental wellness campaign, and we continue to encourage you to be intentional about your mental wellness with these tips.
21, be a tourist in your own town. Oftentimes, people only explore attractions on trips, but you may be surprised what cool things are in your own backyard.
Number 22, try prepping your lunches or picking out your clothes for work for the week. You'll save some time in the mornings and have a sense of control about the week ahead.
23, work some omega-3 fatty acids into your diet. I like to say that, fatty acids. They are linked to decreased rates of depression and schizophrenia among many benefits. Fish oil supplements work, but eating your omega-3s in foods like wild salmon, flax seeds, and walnuts also help build healthy gut bacteria.
Practice forgiveness for number 24, even if it's just forgiving that person who cut you off during your commute to work or back home. People who forgive have better mental health and report being more satisfied with their lives.
Number 25, what appear to be calamities are often the sources, I almost said calamites, often the sources of fortune. Disraeli
said that, for the record.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Try to find the silver lining in something kind of cuddly that happened recently.
Feeling stressed? Smile. It may not be the easiest thing to do, but smiling can help lower your heart rate and calm you down.
Number 27, send a thank you note, not for a material item, but to let someone know why you appreciate them. Written expressions of gratitude are linked to increased happiness.
Number 28, do something with friends and family. Have a cookout, go to a park, or play a game. People are 12 times more likely to feel happy on days that they spend 6 to 7 hours with friends and family.
29, take 30 minutes to go for a walk in nature. It could be a stroll through a park or a hike in the woods. Research shows that being in nature can increase energy levels, reduce depression, and boost well-being.
Number 30, do your best to enjoy 15 minutes of sunshine and apply sunscreen. Please, sunlight synthesizes vitamin D, which experts believe is a mood elevator.
And 31, and last, anyone who has never made a mistake has never tried anything new. Albert Einstein. Try something outside of your comfort zone to make room for adventure and excitement in your life.
Again, please remember to be intentional about your mental wellness. Brought to you by NAMI San Fernando Valley and Loving Beyond Reason.
David is a thinker.
I never do anything without thinking about it first.
Marla is a feeler.
I basically wear my personality on my sleeve.
But when Marla and Dave get together, it's like a match dancing with a firecracker.
Okay, we're back. And so, Kail, we've been talking about your writing and you being an author. Let's talk about your webcast. Right. So how did that come about?
Are you talking about coffee combos?
I'm talking about coffee convos.
Oh,
Okay.
podcast.
Podcast.
We don't do it on the computer like y'all do. This is way cooler. We only do it for it's not visual at all.
So it's a podcast.
Yeah, just a regular podcast. And we started in 2017. Lindsay, I actually had never met her prior to agreeing to do the show with her. I think she was taking a shot in the dark with me and asked me to do the podcast with her. And I was like, a little hesitant to do it because I really wasn't interested in the podcast world. TV was my thing and that's kind of what I wanted to stick to. But I was like, you know what, I'll just give it a try. And I actually fell in love with it. And, actually this month was our 3-year anniversary for Coffee Combos.
Wow. So what's
That's
so
amazing.
tell me
Congratulations.
about. Absolutely.
You guys cover just about every subject. As I'm looking through the subjects that you guys talk about, there's almost nothing that you don't talk about.
Yeah, it's literally like therapy with my friend.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
So I can
preach
even
about everything. We talk about things. We've actually talked about mental health. We've had, people come on there and talk about postpartum depression. We've had all kinds of guests. So yeah.
wow. So you just that one more thing, and I could see that that's fitting for you though, Kail. Seriously, because you just with ease, your transparency, which is what we were talking about earlier, is truly transformative for those who are listening because there's just an honesty in you about you. So it's not even about projection in others. It's really just an honest share of your journey, which we all have one, but it's a very I just want to tell you that I appreciate your bravery because it's brave to be you because
it definitely took me a long time to get here. If you know what I mean. Like, I definitely think looking back, I wasn't always as transparent. And I think I wasn't always as honest with myself as I needed to be. But in the last 3 to 5 years, I think I'm definitely making progress, and I feel progress and growth in me in certain aspects. But I definitely, looking back, I don't think I was as honest then as I am now with myself.
And so when all of these experiences and all of your endeavors and the things that you're doing, that you're bringing your true Kail to the table, I like that. True Kail. I don't want to be fresh, but I eat kale because it's my favorite vegetable.
She's going to keep throwing things out there till you agree to one of her titles. Trust me.
It's a business idea.
Until you agree to one of her titles.
I eat kale. Do you? Anyway, this is ridiculous. But what I wanted to bring us back seriously is, as a mom who has yourself as a model, what does that do for you in taking that transparency to motherhood with your boys?
That's a hard question to answer.
Well, I mean, do you, in other words, you had so many experiences. Is it, because I know for most parents, we want to live past. We want to help our kids avoid.
Yeah, how much of the past do you talk about with your children?
But you have gotten to this place, and when I say bravery, that's why it came to mind. It takes a brave parent to just see the raw in our children and let them develop their nature without trying to change it to what we
would like it to be.
Exactly.
Well, and it's funny that you mentioned that, because I actually said that on my podcast last night when I recorded. That's one of the things that I think, acknowledging all the things that I've been through, it gives me perspective, and it also opens, an opportunity for me to keep that communication and that transparency with my kids. And being through so much, I feel like I can see so many different perspectives. So when my kids have, a situation, in the future, or, I want them to be able to be transparent and ask for help if they need it, or be raw and honest with them in the event that I need to be apologizing to them, like I'm human, right? So I don't know. I feel like, am I getting off topic?
No. Go right ahead. This is a topic.
Okay.
You are the topic.
I don't know if I'm going off on a tangent.
No.
Yeah, I think to answer your question, if I am a mom and I'm my own role model, is that what you asked?
Yes, just
Being
the transparency,
yeah.
the transparency that you're actually modeling, and what is that? Yeah, how does that go forward to your boys?
I don't want them to ever have to struggle through years and years of therapy like I am trying to get to this place. If I teach it young, because I'm going, I'm doing it now, they won't have to do that. And so
exactly.
Yeah, they're still going to go through their own struggles, and they're still going to go through their own, there's going to be roadblocks for them too. But I hope they're very different. And I hope that there's a lot of just honesty and transparency in our relationship where they can come to me for help, and I can help them in a real way, and not kind of sweep things under the rug when maybe they need help, maybe they need therapy, maybe they need, you know what I mean? Like, there's things out there to get them what they need. So.
A big part of good parenting is always having the lines of communication open and being able to openly answer the questions that your kids bring to you, and don't just shove it under the rug or say you're not old enough to deal with this. If you're old enough to ask the question, it's a thing. Stick right. This conversation is amazing.
We're almost over. It's crazy.
They fly. We'll be right back with more Kail. All right, the fun music is playing again. Marla, tell us about the poll question we asked last week.
You should tell us.
You're shuffling around. So last week we asked, what percentage of U.S. adults suffer from anxiety disorders? Your options were A, 19%, B, 27%, or C, 34%. I think last week, Kail, I think you guessed
she said
34%. And it was one of those times when I wrote the poll question to kind of trick people up. So I put the low number, which was 19%, which is actually a high number. But it is the number that of people, U.S. adults, suffering from anxiety disorders. Marla, what's the new poll question?
New poll question is, when it comes to mental health, early diagnosis and treatment can lead to better recovery options and more fulfilling life. What is the average delay between the onset of mental illness symptoms and treatment? A, 1.5 years, B, 5 years, or C, 11 years?
Wow. Each one of those answers is a lot longer than I would have anticipated. The question again, what is the average delay between onset of mental illness symptoms and treatment? Kail, what will be your guess for this one? 1.5 years, 5 years, or 11 years? 5 years. Wow.
Well, Kail, unfortunately, there is no episode 3 for you, so you're going to have to find this answer out. I'm going to have to send you
we were smooth sailing here. I thought you were going to invite me back.
No, listen, you're definitely welcome to come back. Matter of fact,
welcome. We
got an invite for you at the end of this, but the point is you're going to have to get this poll question off the website, or I'm going to text you directly.
Absolutely. Next week, anywhere our social media is, you can check out the poll questions. We'll be right back.
All right, we're back. So, the Mental Health Mondays, they go by so quick.
Go by pretty quick.
I hate it. I just feel like we should be here for like a marathon.
Well, Kail, I have an observation, and you can tell me if I'm right on, spot on, or if I'm a little off, if I'm way off. It seems like when I was checking out that list of all the things that you do and have done in your career and continuing to create, it seems like each moment that you're living and experiencing, you turn into a cathartic process that leads you to learning something new about yourself. You incorporate that into who you are, what you do on a daily life, in your daily life, that suddenly you're receiving healing, self-therapies, as well as creating new businesses for yourself. Am I kind of off?
No, I feel like that's kind of spot on. I do. I agree with that.
Yeah, well, and that is amazing. As we've been talking over these last 2 shows, that was the main thing that was sticking out to me, is that everything becomes not only an opportunity for healing and self-awareness, but your ability to be transparent about it also then leads it into a business opportunity as well.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good observation, and I'm glad that you said that, because now I'm gonna move forward with that.
And you are gonna have your own Kail company, and you're gonna start Kail's House. You're welcome.
Well, the reason why I brought it up in that way is to remind everyone out there that might be watching or listening, it's that when you can have the courage to be transparent,
it's bravery.
A whole new world can open up for you, and a lot of the things that you thought were there to hold you down and keep you back suddenly become opportunities.
And it's not, I just think as well, to add on to what you're saying, we're so used to trying to transform ourselves into other people's expectations. And the one thing that I learned quickly after actually encountering Kail in person was it's refreshing.
Yeah.
Because what I didn't feel was apology. And, we seriously, well, let's just be real. There's, we all when you grow and you mature, you don't want to judge, but inside of us, there's all a judge. But to me, I've learned that judgment is something that happens when I have not come to terms with me. So when you heal that, then you understand the independent journey of another, and it doesn't come with judgment. That's where the acceptance is born. I have to, once I can accept me, then it's a lot clearer for me to accept others. And because it was easier for me to tap into or be open to, because America knows, but it's so far behind us. I too was a teen mom. So, but now here I am, married 32 years, and people forget because of my, the way I conduct myself and whatever. Exactly that. So I get it. So I understand all of that, but I just want to keep tipping my hat to the fact that you are just this raw, brave soul, and I'm looking at it 8 million people down the line, connected to freeing others without needing to be someone's savior, but saving yourself.
Well, we just want to thank you again for your transparency and ask you what's next on your horizon for you.
I do have my book. Hopefully, will be out in the spring, and I have not released the title yet, but I'm hoping to in the coming weeks. And that's really my main focus right now, other than being a mom and hopefully,
a new mom at that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what's the next on the list.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
So, Kail, I have another just FYI question. Would you say that you were a free spirit?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I had to ask that question because, sometimes that's a work, and she has a fluidity. She's just fluid. There's a fluidness about her that I just wanted to know if she identifies herself as being just a free spirit.
Well, I know you've been talking a lot about how beneficial therapy has been for you in your life. Tell us about when you understood that this transparency was such a good thing from your perspective.
I probably didn't even realize until I started to get through some of the things that I was going through, the reason why I ended up in therapy and really committing to it. So I would say it's pretty recent, like I try to be transparent before and in the past, and I couldn't really commit to it. Like I would want to show people my authentic self, and then I would kind of come back into this place where like, oh, well, I don't really want people to judge me. And then I'd go back into it. And so really committing to therapy over the last, I guess, 13 months has really, really transformed me and really helped me commit to being transparent and showing my real self. Has
it given you a different perspective on how you deal with fans and negativity?
Yeah, I will say that. I think that one of the things that I've talked about in therapy before is just like the judgment, right? And like the weird, like to me, it's weird that someone would get online and say such horrible things about me. But then I put myself, just like you said, I've been there, right? Like I've been in a dark place where I judged people. And now that I'm out of that place, I understand their perspective. It's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of them.
Right.
At some point, they're going to get out of that and they're going to make changes and be a better person, or so we hope. That's what we hope for them. So I don't take it as personally as I once did. So that's super helpful.
Again, demonstrating growth. Our guest is
Kail Lowry, and she's
an amazing person.
We're at the end of the show. We'll come right back and close it out with Kail.
Absolutely.
Bad.
Worthless.
Don't trust them. They'll hurt you. You're worthless.
It's pointless.
When the pain of schizophrenia meets hope, everything can change. Help someone who is struggling by supporting the National Alliance on Mental Illness and be a part of the NAMI effect. Hope starts with you.
It's raw, real, and unfiltered.
Kail, our hats are lifted and our hearts are open, and I promise you, thank you so much for just being you. Thanks for coming and spending this time with us. I don't need to say that I hope that your story has been impactful, because I already know that it is impactful. And I told you I was going to give you an invitation. We weren't able to do the NAMI walk this year, but next year in May, we're going to be doing a telethon, and we would like to offer you a 15-minute block where your fans can call and help us raise money for the NAMI walk in May. So we'll send you more details, and you're going to be one of our people that joins us for a block on the phone. So
awesome.
We're going to hold you to that, and by then, so do me a favor. If you're going to shoot for that girl, can you just give us a second? Don't let me tune into your Instagram again. and see a suckling babe. I'm going to be like, Kail, I told you.
Well, we wish you all the best. Thank you again for sharing some of your time with us, your super busy schedule, and for just being a great mom and the development that we've seen in you throughout the years. We appreciate you. We thank you.
Your kids
good
are
luck
blessed.
in the future. I know you said you're going to announce the name of the book coming up here pretty soon, so we'll keep our ear out.
We'll be
listening for that, and good luck with that as well. Remember, everybody out there, please check out our GoFundMe page for Mental Health Mondays. Support us. Help us keep the show going. See you next week. See you, Kail. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kail. Love
Indeed.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
If I could be a king, even for a day.